Warning, if you are prone to having seizures from certain light patterns or images, beware this game. Beware this video as well, because I'm sure it's not going to be any less light patterns or shiny or light. I have been stuck on this level. Let's try spinning. That's a neat trick. Wow. Hello everyone. Welcome to my thoughts on. I'm your host Atratzu, and today I'm giving you my thoughts on Redout Enhanced Edition. This game was developed by 34 Big Things, released September 2016. I have played 9 hours at this time, and that amount will increase. And the price for the game is $34.99. So we're only going to be talking about the core game because I do not have the DLC. So there's a lot of DLC for this game. There's Earth and Space and Neptune and Vertex and Mars packs. Each one of those is a different DLC with its own maps, and I think some of them have spaceships as well, but I haven't really looked at them too deeply. So, Redout is a space... Let's just go to level 1. Let's just start with what I started with off on level 1. Redout is a space racing game, I think is how I would describe it. I don't have much experience with playing lots of different racing games. Actually, I typically avoid the genre, to be quite honest. Because, yeah, I don't know. Racing games don't always capture my attention, and I don't know, I've always considered myself more of somebody who would play an open world game or an RPG or a sandbox game. And I don't know, racing just normally doesn't do it for me. But when my brother had told me that he'd been playing Redout, I had a look at it on Steam and I was just like, I've seen this game before, and yeah, I would actually play this game. So surprises always abounding. So yeah, Redout is very fast. One of the big things in racing games, I think it's an important part of the genre, is that you feel like you're going fast. The last racing game that I covered on my channel was F1 2015, I believe. And my opinion on that game was not particularly high. I kind of found it boring. And I would not say the same about Redout. So as somebody who does not typically play and enjoy racing genres, Redout is one of the most fun racing games that I have ever played, which I don't know if there's a sub name for what kind of racing game this is, if it's like because they're all spaceship hoverboat things. Now this is pod racing. If it's because it's that, then that's the type of racing game that I like. The only thing is that, again, it has racing tropes in it, and yeah, I'm finding myself getting stuck on levels and struggling to get past certain sections of the game. I switched the difficulty down for myself because I played until about class 2 ships on just Redout difficulty, and then I was like, alright, I'm tired of fighting for all the different things. I want to have a good time and just kind of enjoy racing for a change. So I'd switched down to easy difficulty, and that didn't feel like it made it any easier. It made the AI easier, but it didn't feel like it made anything easier for me. So, now that we're almost done with this full lap, let's talk about the controls. There's not really any story, so to speak, not that I know of. There are background stories as to the different ships and manufacturing shipping companies, which are interesting to read up, but again, that's just kind of flavor text aesthetic for the most part. The controls for Redout are I've done both the controller and I've done both the controller and I've also done the keyboard. Does the mouse do anything? No, the mouse doesn't do anything. So I'm gonna give my... I can cover both and we'll start a new race and I will kind of do a little bit of both really quickly and walk over what the controls are. We're almost done and done. All right. So, how did I do? I got a gold medal with this ship. Well then. And look at that abysmal experience. But I got money for doing an easy course. Where does it continue at me to? Oh, it continues us back to here. Good to know, good to know. All right, let's exit. The way I demonstrated it to myself last time was I was curious what 1v1 local player split screen looked like. Keyboard versus gamepad. All right. And let's do... race mode. We only want 1 lap. No opponents. And we want... let's go... well, I mean, we've already seen that one. Let's see someplace new. I don't want to go there. All right, let's do this. All right, and... who are we using? Use a class 1 and the other class 1. So there you go. All right, let's jump on into it. Oh, this one doesn't have any power-ups. Yeah, we'll suit you up with the basic one again. Okay. And start race. So first we're going to start out with the gamepad. Whether that's top screen or bottom screen, I don't know. We're about to find out. It'll be pretty obvious which one is and isn't. All right, 2 laps, just me and myself. So, I'm on the right. This is kind of weird to be playing a racing game by myself. So, the controller controls are the right trigger is to accelerate, the left trigger is to brake. And you can hold down the right trigger and then tap on the left trigger to slow down. That has come in handy on particularly sharp turns. I think that's kind of like your air brake. Now you also have the bumpers above those triggers. I'm using an Xbox 360 controller and I think it's Xbox 360 or it's Xbox 360, Xbox One. It's an Xbox controller. The right bumper activates, if you see on the user interface over there, on the right, there is that plus robot outline. That is, let's do some of this. That is using the ability on the right. On the left, that's just an augmented propeller, so that's just helping this ship move faster. It's kind of passive thing. The top right bumper is the repair. The top left is the boost. And I am steering the ship, the craft, with my left thumbstick. The right thumbstick has an important job as well, though. The right thumbstick adjusts the pitch of the ship. So if I press up, it pitches the nose of the ship down. If I pull the stick back, it pitches the stick up, the nose up. So on turns like this, if I tried to push the nose down, I might not be able to go fast enough. On turns like that, you'll notice that there are some visual representations going on. They're giving the player the hint on what they're supposed to do. So let's turn around here. These red triangles are telling you to pull the thumbstick back and pitch the nose up. There are a couple other tells on that you should do this during certain points of the game. If you have rumble on your controller will rumble, which will let you know if you've not been adjusting the pitch correctly. Sometimes you have to adjust it to the right and the left. Sometimes you have to adjust the pitch to the right and the left. If you're trying to take a turn really fast, you can hit both at the same time. You can also slide by pointing both at each other, a type of slide. I am still very much a novice at the controls in this game. Now then, switching over to the controller. Looks like the pitch is adjusted with the arrow keys and the directions are adjusted with WASD. And I remember that seemed like it made a lot of sense to me. And then I think it is, yep, spacebar is to use your, oops, should pitch the nose up. Spacebar is to use the item that you have on, so the one that's on the right, and then shift is your boost. So again, this is really well done keyboard controls for the most part, and I could get used to both. I think it is a little bit easier with a controller just because I think this type of game just yields itself better to a controller, but yeah, just kind of wanted to point out that both are options and both are very playable, but this is one of the rare occasions that I opted for the controller over the keyboard and mouse. Typically I like keyboard and mouse controls. This particular one, I think that it's just a better experience with a controller. But again, you don't need one. If you want to just play it as it is, I think you could do just fine with a keyboard and mouse. We'll actually compare times here with these craft and we'll see how my score looks for both. The first lap is going to be bad. The second lap will be a little bit more on par for what we're looking for. Also, it's two very different ships or vessels. So with the two very different vessels, likely the keyboard's gonna get a better time. Yep, because that ship is faster. So, there you go. I lost to player 2. Interesting. Okay. So that's the controls for the game. So, let's talk about what's been keeping me interested and why I'm covering Redout now instead of, finishing the career and covering it. The thing is that I can't really knuckle down and do the career because I don't know, the way I like playing Redout is I like just playing a couple races and then playing something else. So this is a game that I can see myself playing multiple hours of, but the thing is I'm playing other games at the same time, and as I play other games, I sometimes forget my opinions on games that I should be covering on my channel before I get too far into them and just forget my opinions on them. So that's why we're talking about this game now, 9 hours into it, rather than whenever the career finishes. That, and since I don't have the DLC, I'm not able to play certain maps, certain tracks on the campaign. So let's talk about the different ships that you have. So you have a bunch of different manufacturers. Each one has a different style. I can't use my mouse. Each one has a different style. Each one has a different manufacturer. So if we look here at the Vanguard, we can press Y, and then this is your flavor text telling you about what's going on with European Space Agency prototype high atmosphere patrol aircraft. Kind of gives you a background of it. Does it do it for each one? Do you have one? Oh, it doesn't have that one for that. I haven't unlocked it yet, so let's go to one that I do. All right. Perfectly balanced and crazy fast. Yep, gives you information about all of them. That's just good detail for just, I don't know, building the world that these vessels are in, which is interesting. So, generally, if you look at any of these points, you will see kind of what you're dealing with each one. So the Vanguard has good acceleration, and that's kind of the thing that the Vanguard has. This one looks like it has better structure, which I think is like how many hits you can take. Don't quote me on that. And it has good grip. Then this one has acceleration. Actually, wait, do I own this? I thought I owned, yeah, I do own this. Okay, good. All right, this one has good max speed and a good energy pool. This one has good max speed. This one has a high energy pool, and everything else is kind of lacking. This is apparently the best ship in the game, all the way across. There, at the highest point, has the best acceleration, max speed, and grip. I came across this by accident, actually, because I thought that my best ship was going to be the ESA style of ships, but yeah, I ended up getting a mission where I unlocked one of these vessels. It was actually the Class 2, and I never went back after that because it just beat all the rest of the competition. I was like, fine, I'll take it. So this is what I've committed to using for the rest of the game. And as you see, I've unlocked a Class 4 ship, even though I haven't unlocked Class 4 races yet. So if it's any indication that I've committed to this course of action, I don't know what else would be. Now there is a couple other things to keep in mind. As you can see, this is a DLC unlock, but this is not. So this is the one that you probably would go to. I don't know enough about Redout. People that have played a lot more might have a more matured opinion as to which ship you're supposed to use. But when you're selecting a ship, especially this kind of ship, the loadout that you generally want is you want to have these two. You want to have the repair drone and you want to have the augmented propeller. The repair drone is, of course, repairing your ship. It also gives you speed boost. You want to level it up to 4/4. That way the ship is rather sensitive, so you get smacked around a lot and your vehicle gets destroyed, and then you have to wait for it to respawn. So the less time that you're destroyed, the better time you're going to get. It's just math. And then the augmented propeller supercharges your engine, granting a max speed and acceleration boost. So there you go. There are other options that you could work with, and some of them are good for other game modes, but generally speaking, this is just what I have used, and it works for pretty much everything, but again, there's a lot of options that you can work with. Now, there are some other things to keep in consideration as well. I didn't figure this out until later, but there are also upgrades for your ships. So if we press X, these are all upgraded already. So this is a turbine, magnets, structure, and energy. On a vehicle that doesn't have these upgraded, like this for example, we can hit upgrades, and then we can upgrade these for that amount, this one. And as you see, it also slightly, doesn't make a huge increase, but ever so slightly, it improves the stats on the ship. So for the ship to truly be as effective as it possibly can be, you need to invest in getting your ship fully upgraded. Now, that was kind of a throwaway just for the sake of demonstration. When you're playing online, chances are I don't think there would really be any cases where you would be playing anything underneath a Class 4. So you should be saving your money for Class 4 ships, and then just pick a style of ship that you want to go through the races with, and then go from there. I haven't really felt like money's been particularly tight in the game. I feel like money and races are readily available, and you can always repeat races and get money as you go along. Now, there is another cool aesthetic about the ships that I just really, really love. You can customize the colors. So you'll notice that for the Class 1 ships, I've gone with this green and black theme for each one, and that was on purpose. Class 2, if I've unlocked them, you'll notice, Atratzu has a red ship for class 2. How does that happen, And then for class 3, I chose a similar color scheme, and then for class 4, I returned to my color green. So if you want to adjust the colors, you click in the right thumbstick, and on keyboard, what is that? Shift. And you can choose the pattern that the ship has. So we've got 2 different patterns for this particular one. You can have stock, bandit, striper. And I think I chose stock. And then you have different color sets that you can have. So we can do, if I wanted to go back to what I was doing before, it would be that, and then maybe I'd try different, not enough green. I wanted it to be mostly green. The other ones were black and green, or black and purple, or black and red. I wanted much more green in it. And there were several other color schemes I could have gone with. Yeah, there are some just really great color loadouts that you can have that, like, it's so colorful. I love it. Like, that's a great color scheme right there. But I'm gonna I wanted green. That's kind of a weird color combination for me, but hey, I wanted something that was primarily green. This is probably my favorite color scheme that you can look at right here. But again, not enough green. So let's jump into a race that I'm actually working on. So I was working on Alien Race, but I cannot seem to get the par time for that anywhere to get any award. So then I went on to the next race and I got a gold medal, which is the same. It's the same type of race for the most part, pure time attack and speed. The only difference is that speed let me have augments on, and pure time attack doesn't let you have any of the augments on. Oh, by the way, in case anyone is curious, this is where you go to adjust the AI difficulty. I had it on Redout, but I moved it down to rookie. It doesn't change any of the times, but when I'm playing against the AI, at least it's a little bit easier. The difference between these 2 difficulties for me was on Redout difficulty, if I crashed once, I would end up towards the end of the pack and never be able to recover. With rookie, if I crash once, it's a tough fight to get back and stay in first place. But if I never crash, I stay in first place comfortably the entire time. So if you're gauging your racing abilities versus me critiquing mine is low, maybe that helps you, maybe it doesn't. But that's where you adjust it anyway. If you just wanted to just jump in, you could do quick race, split screen of course for local. Online, you'll notice to the top left of the screen, there are 9 players that are currently playing, and I'm playing at a random time of the day. There's normally people playing. The problem is I've never been successful in trying to join. You could host a race and wait, and maybe someone would drop in, but I would say you'd want to pick this up to play with a friend. And you can just join a friend and race one-on-one online. It is an option, and we have done it. My brothers and I have played this together, so yeah, that is an option if you want. So getting back to career though, a class 3 ship. By the way, I can't take a class 4 ship into a class 3 race just to, whoops, we don't want that. We already did that one. Let's choose this one. Oh, it's a boss. Ooh. You need a class 3 ship. So you can't jump into it with a class 4. So there are several different types of races here. We're about to embark on a long one, so might want to hold off on that for a little bit. You have score, which is kind of like a survival. You try to survive as long as you can you get points for, was this actually, let's just jump into this. I don't remember what this is. I need a class 2 ship. We're going backwards. all of the game modes felt basically okay. I was remembering incorrectly, I'm sorry. All of the game modes kind of feel the same for the most part. They don't feel too different. The general principle being try to get in front of everybody and try to get first, applying to pretty much any time. If there are other people you're racing against, try to get in front of them, try to get in first, and you'll win. There is some comeback that you can have. Oh, come on. I don't know if I should be playing at this point in the... there is some comeback that you can have if you don't get in first the entire time. So again, this is score. So the point is to try to get in first and stay in first as long as possible, because you'll get more points if you're in first. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk and get into first at the same time. This might be beyond me. Oh, I should be pulling back there as the color kind of gets grayed out a little bit. Let's hit the brake, sharp turn, and this is on an easy difficulty, guys. I should not be having trouble with this. Anyways, I don't feel like I should be having trouble with this, but Redout's a tough game. There we go. Oh, no. No, they're back. Oh, that's it. All right. Well, it was nice having a chance while I had a chance, but oh, Lawrence, how the mighty have fallen. I'm gonna run out of things to say real quick. So, I do have a game that I can contrast this against. There was a sale on the Switch to pick up Star Wars Pod Racer. I picked it up, it was on sale and I had some Nintendo points, and so I picked it up for just a couple dollars, and I was like, alright, $2 is literally the price that I'm just willing to buy for most games. It's kind of hard to say no to that. So I picked it up, and it's been interesting playing that and kind of contrasting my experience on Redout versus an old Nintendo 64 game. And historically, it's just crazy on how far games have come in general and graphic-wise. However, it's so much easier to play that game than this. And vice versa, when I am playing... come on. When I am playing Redout, all I can think is, man, Pod Racer is so much easier to play. And I don't know if that's good or bad, honestly. For those that are really good at this kind of game, this is the kind of challenge that you might be looking for, and you would excel at it, rise to the occasion. For others, more casual people would probably or could potentially be intimidated by the difficulty of the game. And while I'm taking these turns again, there's a lot of things that are going on that I don't know. There are people that are way more familiar with the game. I'm bouncing against the walls, I'm losing health, and then I'm popping out the healing drone, and I'm not just turning, I'm trying to turn. This sharp turn, I always tap the brake at least once, and then once I get a straightaway, I try to hit the boost again. And my whole goal is to try to get through bumping as few walls as possible. Typically what I've experienced is the more that I play a course, the better I get. And that's a complaint that I said to the brother who was so kind as to buy me this game as a gift. I was just like, man, I feel like I have to memorize the course to be any good at it. And I'm not a fan of that, because there's no indicator of like where the sharp turns are going to be on the user interface. There's no mini map in the bottom right or left corner saying, okay, you got a sharp turn coming up here. Your cues are the signs, the neon signs to the right and the left, the colors of the signs, and then your position approximately to everyone else is the bar at the top. Right now we are in first, the gold. The next closest character is in second place, the silver. And that person, as that gets closer, they approach me. And then different courses have different other notifications. Top right is the position that we are in. So right now, finally got into first, comfortably for the most part. I'm always one death away from that changing. I don't know if I took first place too late to be able to get all the points and win this. However, best shot that we have, and gives you your lap time, your best overall time, and the number of laps that you're doing. So that was 10 laps. Wasn't particularly long, but I don't know. There's something about how fast the game is. I got silver. So there you go. Even though I was in front for most of that race at the last point, still wasn't enough to pull through. You also can look up like lap times. Sometimes you can contrast scores, and the only people that I'm looking at scores are for my other two brothers, and sometimes I beat their high scores and I'm like, yeah, I'm the best. That's not true. So if we did a quick race, all right. So this will give you the different styles of race that you can have. Again, basic principle, get in first and you win, or get the fastest time. That's just the principle to go by. But for a standard race, race to the finish line. Pure race, classic race, but you are not allowed to equip power-ups. Good to train your racing fundamentals. So no power-ups are able to be used in this mode. Arena race, a race with no respawn. The first one to complete the race, or the last one alive, wins. Conservative power-ups are paramount. So, like, the repair drone. And crashing outside of bounds. There are just maps that I could just not do arena race on because I cannot help but crash. So yeah, these can be challenging. The funny thing is that if you find a good one and you just keep on crashing, it's a very easy way to farm up money and experience. So, you know, that is a consideration because you get decent experience as long as you're doing races that are relevant to your rank. Last man standing. Each lap the last contender is eliminated allows for a versatile approach between speed and sturdiness. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Normal race. Try to get in front of people. Score. We just did score. Boss. When it says a long race event running on 5 tracks chained through teleporters, they mean it. It is a very long race. And you just go on and on and on. And I don't remember if there are laps or not, but yeah. When you do a boss race, you basically go over this whole area. So you go over all the different courses on, should I even pronounce it? Cairo, right? Alaska, Abruzzo, Volcano, Europa. And then, of course, I don't have Neptune, Vertex, Mars, Moon. I assume this is Vertices? No, Exploration. This is Earth and more Earth DLC. Now, for those of you that might have friends that have the DLC, I have played on Vertex. I have played on Vertex because my brother has the Vertex DLC. So you can join other people, and if you were to join somebody else's game in online, if you were to join somebody else's game, let's just try this. If you were to join somebody else's game, you would play on their game. It wouldn't matter if you would need to download, you don't need to download the map, they're all packed into the game already. You would just be able to join them and then play whatever course that they picked in the game, which is kind of a cool feature. So you can kind of see if you'd really want to get a course. Now, let's host. There's a bit of a caveat there. If you're hosting, there is a little bit of a detail here. You can't host a DLC, obviously, because it's not installed. But let's try to host Let's see. I can't host anything at Volcano, and that's because I haven't unlocked anything at Volcano either. So, yeah. There's another detail too. Let's not do that one, please. Oh, that one's not unlocked. Dumb. Alright. There's another detail here. When you're playing online, you can borrow or rent other ships. But if you're renting ships, you cannot customize them. So they don't have all of their upgrades. So they don't have any of these, which would make them good for the most part. You kind of need to choose the highest ship, and then you need to upgrade it. You can't customize the colors. Yeah, none of that stuff. But yeah, things that are still keeping me in this game. I like playing casually and just kind of jumping in. And there's still plenty to do. At this point, I have, goodness, 27%. All right, sure. There's still a whole lot left for me to do in the game, and I might have unlocked that class of ship, but the farthest race that I have unlocked, 3. Have we unlocked any 4 races? I don't think we've unlocked any class. Oh, I have unlocked class 4 races. Okay. There are more than enough races here, and then you see the blue occasionally. I'm like, okay, I wouldn't be able to play any of those, but then it's like, all right, I'd be able to play this, I'd be able to play this. There are more than enough races here to keep me busy for another 10 hours over, plus I need to go back and redo some of my other races and get better times on them. So there's just a whole lot of content to play through in Redout, which again, this is not a game that I would have expected to like as much as I did. I find myself really wishing that there were spaceships, but you know what? I'm happy and content with what's here. Oh, by the way, contract. I don't have any available right now, but after you finish a race, sometimes a pop-up will show up in front of you and it'll be like, accept this contract, and you can accept it and get a free ship. You can accept it, and you'll need to be locked into special conditions where you have to play from a certain type of ship for a certain map. So it's a fast way to get some money, but you need to do special conditions to be able to complete your contracts. So it's another interesting part of the game. Again, I keep talking about there's all these different interesting mechanics in... Let's do this one. Oops, and let's jump into class 3. Let's jump into this one. There's a lot of interesting stuff in Redout that can keeps my attention anyway. And I feel like I've got ADHD pretty bad, where I'm like, oh, what's this over here? I guess it's not particularly bad since I can focus, but I feel like I am prone to being distracted, and that my attention can be lost just as easily as anything else. I've done this course so many times. So a couple more things to kind of just point out about the game that I really like. The music is fascinating. It's very pleasant, electrical styled music. The graphics are interesting. The developers have made... Oh, I didn't think I was going to make that. The developers have found such interesting, compelling ways to make the player feel like they're going crazy fast. And there are the tiny in-air moments, of course, there as well that I can, like, adjust the pitch. That's a big deal. Make sure you get your pitch figured out so when you're in the air... Oh, shoot. Is this one of the ones where if I crash... Yeah, if I crash... In this game mode, if I crash, I will lose. So even though I'm in first right now, if I miss any of these jumps, or if I hit any of the walls too hard and my health gets too low, I will go from first place to 6th in a hurry. That is the most dangerous the most dangerous jump right there. Also, my face itches. Would somebody please scratch it, because I don't want to... Alright, I'm sorry. As soon as you can't touch your face anymore, that's when everything itches, right? So, yeah. And again, this game mode, survival. But yeah, it's got interesting, it's got a very nice soundtrack, it's got all these different ships, all these different colors. Redout is just a really, really well-made game. Okay, sorry. It gets a little bit stressful for me in the air moments. And this is the one. We'll just start pressing down on the pitch now. Press down. Okay, there we go. And then brake a tiny bit around the corner. Yes, good. All right, boost a tiny bit. And let's not lose everything here. Good. That was one of the funny things about playing Pod Racer, is I find myself squinting, being like, what's coming up next? And in Pod Racer, in Star Wars Pod Racer, they actually have a mini-map in the bottom right, so they let you know what's kind of coming up, but you have to like memorize things there too. And there's a bit of a distance fog, but the difference is that it's a distance fog out of necessity. Okay. It's a distance fog out of necessity because it was on the Nintendo 64, versus this game, which just like has actual like fog and special effects. That gets intense for me every time. And yeah, this is, Redout is not a game where you can just kind of like sit back and relax. You need to be paying attention and cornering, and I don't know, I've seen several guides on Steam for how to play better. So when you're turning, apparently that slows you down slightly. So you, if at all possible, you'd want to actually like use the pitch in directing your vessel to the right or the left. And then of course not all hits on the walls slow you down as well. So there's a huge level of detail for what can be done and how well somebody could play this game. There we go. But yeah, again, I don't know that I'm necessarily the best person that can comment on racing games. I don't know that even the information that I give about this game is necessarily accurate or helpful to people that know more about this game genre than I. That being said though, I can confidently say that I enjoy Redout, and I will continue to enjoy playing Redout. This is probably one of the few racing games that, even if I did everything, I would probably want to keep installed. Oh, I forgot about that. I'd want to keep this game installed because I'd totally be down for just like, oh, my brothers and I can't figure out what game we want to play. Let's just play a couple of rounds of Redout and go from there. And yeah, could totally see myself doing that. This has been the most interesting and fun racing game that I've played. Well, I mean, Pod Racer now is a part of that list as well, but this is the best racing game that I have on computer at this point. Hey, pilot increased level 27. I don't know where that caps. Again, there's so much more left to talk about and experience for Redout, but hopefully this has been an adequate video. I hope that it's been helpful, kind of seeing the gameplay and what's available to the person picking up Redout. I totally think it's worth everyone's time if you're remotely interested. It is a bit of an expensive game, but it's a smaller developer and a very good game, and yeah, you kind of have to make the judgment call for yourself on that. Maybe you need to wait for a Steam sale, but yeah. Thank you for watching. Once again, my name is Atratzu, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.